Hi there, kindergarten friends. It's me, Miss Hudson. I'm going to show you today how you can retell a story that you really like. Now, sometimes when you come home from school, your family will say, "What did you do at school today?" And if your teacher read you a really great book, you might want to tell them the story that you heard. But if you haven't practiced, sometimes retelling stories can be very tricky. So, we're going to practice today with some stories that you have probably already heard. Maybe you've read this book in your class, Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears. One good way to retell a story is with puppets. If the story has characters in it, you can find or make a puppet for each character and use the puppet to show what that character says and does in the story. Today, we're going to practice retelling stories with a flow map. And a flow map is really just a great way to organize the events in a story or the things that happen. Let's start with a really easy short story, like a nursery rhyme, Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Let's look at a flow map and put those events in order to retell the story of Jack and Jill. So friends, these boxes with the arrows in between are my flow map. And just like when we read, we're going to start here on the left and move toward the right. So the first event in our nursery rhyme would go here. Jack and Jill went up the hill. That's what happened first. Well, this picture shows Jack and Jill, and they're walking up the hill. That's the first event. And why did they go up the hill? To fetch a pail of water. That's the event that happened next. Here's Jack and Jill with the pail of water. I'll put it next on the flow map. Jack and Jill went up the hill. They fetched the pail of water. Jack fell down. Here he is. And at the end of the nursery rhyme, Jill came tumbling after. That's a really easy way to retell the nursery rhyme of Jack and Jill. I just put the pictures in order from the beginning to the middle and finally to the end. Let's look at another book. Maybe you've heard this book in class, Chrysanthemum by Kevin Hinkes. I've heard this book more than one time, so I'm pretty good at retelling the story. And I'll use this flow map to put the events in order from the beginning to the middle and finally to the end of the story. At the beginning, Chrysanthemum, our character, loves her name. But in the middle of the story, Chrysanthemum starts school and all the children laugh at her name and her feelings change. She begins to feel sad. Then a new teacher, Mrs. Twinkle, tells everyone that she loves Chrysanthemum's name. At the end, Chrysanthemum learns to love her name again. I'm going to share a new storybook with you, Jabari Jumps by Gaia Cornwall. After we read the story, we'll use a flow map to retell the story of Jabari. Jabari Jumps by Gaia Cornwall. Here's our title page. It has our title, Jabari Jumps, and shows a little boy changing into his swimming things. I see his trunks and his goggles. He's getting ready to swim. I'm jumping off the diving board today, Jabari told his dad. Really? Said his dad. The diving board was high and maybe a little scary, but Jabari had finished his swimming lessons and passed his swimming test, and now he was ready to jump.
I'm a great jumper, said Jabari, so I'm not scared at all. Jabari watched the other kids climb the long ladder. They walked all the way out to the end of the board, as big as tiny bugs. Then they stood on the edge. They spread their arms and bent their knees and sprang up, up, up. And then they dove down, 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 splash. Looks easy, Jabari said. But when his dad squeezed his hand, Jabari squeezed back. Jabari stood at the bottom of the ladder. He looked up. You can go before me if you want, he told the kid behind him. I need to think about what kind of special jump I'm going to do. Jabari thought and thought. Jabari started to climb up and up. This ladder is very tall, he thought. Are you okay? Called his dad. I'm just a little tired, said Jabari. Maybe you should climb down and take a tiny rest, said his dad. A tiny rest sounded like a good idea. When he got to the bottom, Jabari remembered something. I forgot to do my stretches, he said to his dad. Stretching is very important, said his dad. I think tomorrow might be a better day for jumping, Jabari said. They looked up at the diving board together. It's okay to feel a little scared, said his dad. Sometimes, if I feel a little scared, I take a deep breath and tell myself I am ready. And you know what? Sometimes it stops feeling scary and feels a little like a surprise. Jabari loved surprises. Jabari took a deep breath and felt it fill his body from the ends of his hair right down to the tips of his toes. Jabari looked up. He began to climb up and up and up and up until he got to the top. Jabari stood up straight. He walked all the way to the end of the board. His toes curled around the rough edge. Jabari looked out as far as he could see. He felt like he was ready. I love surprises, he whispered. He took a deep breath and spread his arms and bent his knees. Then he sprang up off the board, flying. Jabari hit the water with a splash. Down, down, down he went, and then back up. Whoosh! Jabari, you did it, said his dad. I did it, said Jabari. I'm a great jumper. And you know what? What? Said his dad. Surprise double backflip is next.
At the beginning, Jabari arrives at the swimming pool with his dad and his baby sister and tells his dad that he's ready to jump from the diving board. Jabari does climb the ladder, but we noticed he began to get a little nervous and he did not jump on his first try. He climbed back down and he talked to his dad for a little while. His dad gave him some good ideas about taking a deep breath and telling himself, I am ready. And in the end, Jabari jumped from the diving board and made a huge splash. So today we practiced retelling easy stories like Jack and Jill, Stories that we've heard a lot of times, like Chrysanthemum, and a new story, Jabari Jumps. So, when you're in class or even at home with your family and you're listening to a great story, really try to remember the events in the story so that if someone wants you to retell the story, you'll be ready. I'll see you next time.